Yes, you saw this right. You clicked on this video, you can see that Finn is making another video about the Cosmere. If you didn't know already, Cosmere is the kind of shared universe of books written by Brandon Sanderson. This includes Mistborn, both Era 1 and 2, Stormlight books, and a selection of other standalones, as well as a couple other series, but those are the main ones within that. And today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 Cosmere characters. I will only be talking about the Stormlight books and Mistborn Era 1, because I've not read the rest yet, but I will make a proper tier list video with a load more characters once I've got around to reading them all, which shouldn't be too long. I've just got a couple series at the minute I've got to get through first. Before we get into the video, make sure the usual stuff of liking and subscribing, and comment down below, what is your favourite Cosmere character and why? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let's start off with number 5, and that's going to be Kelsier. And I feel I gotta talk spoilers. There probably will be spoilers throughout this video, so if you haven't read any of these books, go read them, then come back. But let's start off with Kelsier. Kelsier, although only being in one book I've read, The Final Empire, as we all know what happens to him, he manages to exist throughout the rest of the trilogy and still play a prominent role and also just affect all the characters. And so even though he's not present, he feels like he's one of the main characters and one of the kind of main influences throughout. And what helps with that is the fact that his personality is just so strong and that his character is so well done in that first book, and that he just continues on. Like I said, he is one of my favorites just because of that kind of the manner to him, the way he acts, as well as some of the more tragic stuff, which is mentioned within the first one. Not only that, but he's a powerful Mistborn. He teaches Vin the way like he uses this magic system, and just some of the scenes with him, the kind of action scenes of him fighting the nobles, going on a murderous rampage, is just brilliant. And he's such a cool, badass character with a kind of soft center to him, which you can really connect to. Let's switch to talk about number 4. And this is going to be a controversial one because I know people have this character a lot higher up, but number 4 is going to be Dalinar. And the reason I've put him as number 4 instead of higher up is that I didn't feel I connected with his like emotional beats and the kind of arc, especially with Oathbringer, where you learn a lot more about where he came from and how he's changed. And like, I get that. He's in my top 5. He is amazing. I really do enjoy his character. But I couldn't sympathise as much with his character. It was very far from where I am. Maybe I need to be a bit older to understand. I might need to do like a reread. I didn't sympathise as much with his character, but still I do really enjoy reading about him. He is such a well-written character. Like I've said, I think I mentioned this in literally loads of videos, but I like the whole idea of this. He used to be a war criminal, kind of not war criminal, but like a warmonger, and that he's now changing. And people always look back, judge him for that previous life and call him a hypocrite and all that, but he is just trying to change. And even though he may be preaching to other people that what he did back then was bad and that others shouldn't do the same, they still judge him for it, but he is still trying to be a different person, be a better person for the sake of Roshar and the people around him, which I really enjoy. I think that's a great character. And like I said, Dalinar is in my top 5. And so there he will stay. I love him. For character number 3, we're going to be talking about Vin. Vin is amazing. I connect a lot more with her than I did with Dalinar, just because of the way she's written. She is a very paranoid person. She's always looking behind her back, try and make sure no one's gonna kind of betray her, which is what she kind of learned growing up on the streets, especially with her brother, and then being left to like live on her own, work with the kind of thieving crews that would most likely just beat her and not treat her well. And so that is a very understandable motive that I can, and I love the fact that when over the course of the series, she becomes more independent, more confident in her own abilities, but also more trusting of others. And it's not entirely just betrayed in, because sometimes you might have that kind of a character arc where they learn to trust and then that trust is then betrayed, and then you just go right back on that kind of moral lesson there, that trusting others is a good thing, and then I don't really know what you could do from there. But the fact that this continues, that doesn't force the character back, and that this growth is continual, and I think it's very well done, and Vin is one of my favourites, honestly. Before we get into the final two, let's talk about some honourable mentions. We've got to start off with Hoid. Hoid's amazing, or Wit. He's great. Especially, there's a good scene I like in one of the Stormlight books. I'm trying to think. Is it Oathbringer? I don't know. No, it might be Oathbringer. I think it might be Oathbringer, where he mocks one of the High Princes, and then Jasnah. It's just the fact that he's so clever, and he's also just a great character to read about. The way he's written is brilliant. And with that, another one is Jasnah. Jasnah's great. She's there's something with creating a strong woman character, and then you end up falling into a lot of tropes that lessen that. And Brandon Sanderson doesn't do that at all. Jasnah is brilliant. One of the most intelligent and powerful characters in the series. And on top of that, we've got Sazed. Sazed's great, the most loyal person ever, and his character arc within the Mistborn Era 1 is perfect. His outcome is also brilliant. And lastly, you've got Adolin, who, of course, I feel within the first couple of books, he's kind of relegated to a background character. Whereas Radiance, he comes more into his own a little bit, but I really like in Rhythm of War, where he gets a lot more time to prove himself as an honourable character. His scenes within that and the way he acts, I guess, I don't even want to say too much because I'm trying to avoid as much spoilers as possible, but Adolin is amazing. He's not in my top 5 just because obviously the other characters are very, very good. And I can't be biased towards characters in Stormlight because I feel like I've had a lot more page time with those characters. So I've had a lot more time to develop. But Adolin is amazing, and he is, like I said, one of my favourites. But let's move on to talk about final 2. And as you might have guessed, number 2 is Shallan. Shallan annoyed me in Way of Kings. I kind of liked her, but I wasn't too sure. And especially some of the stuff that she was doing just felt a lot separate from the plot. I've said this before in a previous video. But once you move into Words of Radiance and you learn a lot more about character, you get all her backstory, it becomes fully fleshed out, and you continue on with her, and she's absolutely amazing. The character development for that character, perfect. The backstory stuff obviously makes it a lot more sad, and you kind of sympathise a lot more with her after that, which I thought was both necessary and enjoyable. I don't feel it was shoehorned in to try and make people love that character now. I think it worked well, and it was perfectly kind of set up in Way of Kings that I just didn't properly pick up on that until after I learned what was going on. In other words, that was just brilliant. I love it. Let's talk about number 1. And as you probably guessed, in number 1, we've now got Kaladin. Kaladin, I sympathise with a lot more. He has gone through hell and back, and just reading this character, he's so good. I don't really know much else to say without spoiling a few of these bits in these books, but he has gone through a lot. And the fact that every time you read about his character, you just feel sorry for him, but also he is badass because of his powers. And so, yeah, I don't really know what else to say without spoiling anything, but I'll leave it at that. Kaladin is the best, and honestly, if you've read the books, you'll understand what I mean here, especially in Rhythm of War. that got me. Thank you for watching, and make sure the usual stuff of liking and subscribing, and I'll leave a video either side of me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.